Well, hey, this is Jerry with another episode of What's Broke Today. Today we have a 1991. It's a Chevrolet Blazer, which I get back a little ways, but fairly nice one. That story of this is he took this and drove it up into town, and on the way back, he just left Home Depot and started hearing a noise and smelling something burning, and give you an idea, serpentine belt is what was burning. Unfortunately, he did drive it about 15 miles with no belt on it, so I'm hoping him flying down the highway, since the fan wasn't locked up, I'm hoping there's enough air flowing through the radiator to spin the fan and help keep it cool, because I haven't hardly run it since he dropped it off. But I started out checking pulleys, and like idler pulley, alternator, power steering pump, because that was his complaint, was he thought the power steering pump failed. He didn't even think about something else. And what actually failed was the pulley on the AC compressor locked up. So I was talking to him, and he already knows this compressor isn't any good and probably needs the whole AC system rebuilt. So instead of replacing the compressor and doing everything on that, because most of the time he drives with the top off, he says, well, what can we do? And I says, well, we can fix the AC, or Dorman makes this cute little pulley kit where you can take the compressor out and put this idler pulley in place of the compressor. So that's what we're going to do today. And of course, I started out putting my gauges on it, and don't pay no attention to the high side because it's not hooked up. But there's not any refrigerant in the system anyway, that whatever he put in it is already leaked out. So I'm going to get a few things ready, and we're going to pull the compressor off and put that pulley on. Okay, I'm going to start taping, and I'll probably edit out some of this because I doubt you want to watch me just turn bolts. But first thing I got to do is get the compressor unplugged. And then we'll take this wire, probably just fold it over and put a zip tie on it so it's out of the way. And then since the AC system is empty, we'll just unhook the lines. Oh, helps if I put the correct socket on. Cap back on over there. Okay, take that out, and that will drop our lines loose. Let's lay them down out of the way, and I'm just going to put the bolt back in the hole, because I'm going to fix this up, so I'm not going to remove everything on this. I'm going to kind of leave as much here as I can, because there's a good chance in the future he's going to want to put the air conditioner together. So I don't want to take it and make it to a point where he's got to hunt down components to put it back together. Now when I take these bolts out, these are the bolts that are going to hold that idler pulley. And another thing I just noticed, this whole bracket's loose, so we're going to have to do some investigating there. Okay, yeah, I'm going to take a hammer, be gentle so you don't mess up the threads, and knock the bolts out. Like so. Been a while since I had one of these off because you don't see many of these 91s anymore. But that could very easily explain it not wanting to come out. And I edited out the part of me fiddling with this, trying to get it out before I pulled out the last bolt. Okay, third and final bolt out. Now let's grab this, and there it comes out, and we'll get it out of the way. Yeah, what I ended up doing was taking everything loose so I could pull the bracket out. I measured to figure out how long a bolt I needed to go in the hole where it was missing. And then when I got down to the bottom, one bolt was loose, one was tight, and the one that was tight had a broken piece of aluminum on it. So don't have one of those brackets. Currently I'm not going to hunt one down. I think 3 bolts plus our support shaft here should be sufficient. That it's not ideal, but that's what we got. And surprised you didn't have starting trouble because the negative cable went on this stud down here. Which I really think, after looking there, it's not even all the way in the head. So, yeah, I'm going to take a break and see if I can get that stud screwed in farther. Back for another little tidbit. Oh, dropped the bolt. You know, that bolt I thought was missing is missing, but this has a crate motor in it, which is a great thing other than the fact that the cylinder head is not drilled and don't have threads in it for that bolt. Which, let's see if I can move that around and down, but roughly right in there where the end of my ratchet's at, there should be a bolt hole that does not exist. So I just got to bolt this up the best I can, and we just got to deal with it. Well, I got the top bolt on the bracket. I got the nut on the stud and the bolt on the bottom end, and I got the bracket as secure as I can without having all the holes in the cylinder head. And I was moving on to the next step, was good and ready to go back together, but one thing I'm dealing with, which I'm up kind of close here, but I don't know if you can see how the grooves of this is the alternator pulley, and I've cleaned on those 2 that are shiny, and I had my knife and basically just put it down in there and was rotating the pulley and cleaning that stuff out, because we've got to get rid of all of that's down in there, because if we don't, when I put the new belt on, it's actually going to slip. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time, because short of pulling the alternator off and going to the wire, taking this pulley off and going to a wire wheel, that's probably the easiest thing to do with this. And you see how that stuff just starts peeling up out of there. And that's the old belt that, yeah, it running around that air conditioner pulley when it wasn't turning. It basically heated that belt up and it melted. And this is what it chose to stick to, was these other pulleys. And you can see if I do this on top where I'm not trying to do it in front of the camera, it doesn't take that long to clean out one of those grooves. So I'm going to finish getting that, and I'll probably start the motor and put a wire brush on the crankshaft, because that'd be the easiest for that, trying to get that one, because it's on the alternator, the power steering pulley. There's a little bit on the back side of the water pump pulley, which, yeah, it scrapes off super easy, you know, because that whole belt got hot. And then when it finally did stop, there's pieces of it in the formation of the ribs on the water pump pulley. So I'll clean this up and I'll be back shortly. Well, I got all the pulleys cleaned up like I wanted, and so getting ready to, let's go back together. And of course I took off my tensioner pulley, so I'm gonna put it back up there, and then of course if my head wasn't attached I'd lose it too. I just had, oh, instead of where I thought it did. Got the idler pulley that goes down under here. Yeah, so okay, tighten that up. And that flat idler, I got a new one. Our tensioner, just put it back on because it's not that old, and the pulley on it's in great shape. And then, okay, to put this in, real simple. It's got to get that out of the way, and then get it down in there and run it through the hole where the old compressor bolt hole. There's one. There's number two. Now let's put our nuts on. No, that's the bottom bolt. The two bolts that hold it on are the ones that have they got a little flat on them, and they line up, so when you put them in, it keeps the, well, I'm tightening it on the back side, it keeps the bolt from turning. All right, take my ratchet and come here and, oh. That in, tighten her down, and now I'm going to take the other bolt and put it back in the compressor. Now I got my new belt. Let's see. Always have to think every time I put one of these on. Now this has got to go over the alternator, around the power steering, and then over the water pump and around the crank, and on to Grandma's house she goes. Oh, that's something different. So, a lot of times when I'm taking a belt off, I just take a piece of cardboard and draw a picture of how it's routed, because inevitably I will forget how it goes. And the hood latch is hard on the stomach. Okay. Around there. And there. Okay. Oh, and I got the wrong socket. Okay. Pull that up, put the belt around, and let off, and voila, there we go. And then okay, yeah, I want to get these seals off of here, and a pair of pliers and a little twist, and these come right off. Now, I say that, and then that one doesn't want to come off. But there it is. And then what I've got here is that's actually a piece of an old treadmill belt. Piece of steel I cut that, yeah, it's about 3/16 of an inch thick, and I cut it on one of these brackets left from putting springs on a trailer. That I usually have those pieces laying around. Alright, what we're going to do is I'm going to put the bolt through my piece of steel. I'm going to take my piece of treadmill belt and stick over it. Then we're going to go through the lines, a couple of flat washers, a nylock nut, like so. And then I'll tighten that up. And basically what wasn't paying attention. This head needs to be square with that line, so get that squared back up, and then we'll tighten it down. Because basically all I want to do is seal those lines. You just want to seal those lines so nothing can get inside of them. That way if we go to work on it later, I can just flush everything out. And I got my zip tie. I'll zip tie that like so. And I'll keep that out of the way. Now I'll take another zip tie. I'll go around here, or attempt to. Around there, like so, and then I'll capture the line. And then I'll say by the time we go to actually, if we ever fix the AC, I will probably just replace the lines. Otherwise, they're going to need flushed because I'm sure there's all kinds of contamination. So, all right, and that's got our, hold the camera up here. Okay, so that's got us our idler on, gets our belt back on, and still need to start it, but when I had it running just a little bit ago, sounded like the torque converter was loose. So I'm going to, yeah, I might have to pull that inspection cover off and check the torque converter. Alright, well that'll conclude another episode of What's Broke Today. That I appreciate you watching. Like the thumbs up for a like if you enjoyed this video, and if it found it helpful, please subscribe, because if I get my... Yeah, go ahead and please subscribe as well, because I'd like to have as many followers as I can. Leave me comments if you'd like, and thanks for watching.